FEMA just issued warnings that winter 2025 could be the most disruptive in decades, and most Americans are dangerously unprepared. Extended power outages, food shortages, supply chain failures. Millions could be left stranded in their homes with no heat, no power, and no way to get help. But here's what they don't tell you. You don't need a bunker or thousands of dollars to survive what's coming. In this video, I'll reveal the 10 essential items FEMA says every household must have, including 3 that most people completely overlook. By the end, you'll have a practical, affordable plan to protect yourself and your family this winter. Welcome to Crisis Horizon, where we cut through the noise and give you real, actionable strategies for uncertain times. If you want to stay informed and prepared, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss critical updates. Now, let's get into what you need to survive winter 2025. Let's start with the absolute foundation of any emergency plan: water. FEMA doesn't mince words here. You need at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. That means if you have a family of 4, you're looking at 12 gallons minimum. And honestly, if you can store more, you should. Why so much water? Because in a deep freeze, everything breaks. Pipes freeze and burst, water mains crack under the pressure, treatment plants lose power, and suddenly your tap water turns brown, starts smelling like chemicals, or just stops flowing altogether. Clean water isn't just for drinking. You need it for cooking, cleaning wounds, and basic hygiene when you can't shower for days. Here's how to do it right. Use food-grade water containers, not those old milk jugs sitting in your garage. Milk jugs break down over time and breed bacteria that can make you sick. Clean soda bottles work if you rinse them thoroughly, but your best bet is buying actual water storage containers. Store them in a cool, dark place away from chemicals and direct sunlight. Heat and light break down plastic over time. And here's the critical mistake most people make. They think a filtered pitcher or their fridge filter will save them. Wrong. Those filters are completely useless if the tap runs dry. Water is your lifeline, not a luxury. Without it, you're done in 3 days. With it, you can survive almost anything else that comes your way. Now, let's talk about food. FEMA recommends at least a 3-day supply of non-perishable food. And this isn't about surviving on stale crackers and hope. You need real food that won't spoil when the power goes out and your fridge becomes nothing more than a cold, dark box. The best emergency foods are simple: canned beans, tuna, chili, stews, and ravioli. Add peanut butter, granola bars, dried fruit, and nuts. Don't forget shelf-stable milk, applesauce cups, and instant mashed potatoes. These foods require minimal preparation, taste decent, and give you the calories and nutrients you need to stay strong. Here's a pro tip that'll save you money. Dollar stores are absolute gold mines for budget-friendly emergency food. You can stock up on canned goods for a fraction of what you'd pay at a regular grocery store. Just make sure you rotate your stock every 6 months. Use a Sharpie to write the purchase date on each can, and keep a notepad tracking what you have and when it expires. Avoid foods that require refrigeration after opening or complex cooking. You're not going to have the luxury of a working stove or a functioning fridge. Keep it simple. And don't forget the morale boosters: hot cocoa packets, hard candy, instant coffee. When you're stuck inside during a storm, cold and anxious, a warm drink or a familiar meal can make the difference between keeping it together and falling apart. Food is comfort as much as fuel. Your body needs calories, but your mind needs hope. Stock both. Now here's the item that's so overlooked, FEMA lists it separately on their official checklist: a manual can opener. Sounds ridiculous, right? But imagine this. You're 3 days into a power outage, you've got a pantry full of canned food, but your electric can opener is dead weight. Your hands are freezing, you're hungry, and you're staring at a can of soup you can't open. A simple hand crank can opener costs less than $5 and works every time. No batteries, no electricity, no problem. Pull tab cans run out fast during shortages. You'll end up with sealed cans that might as well be paperweights without a manual can opener. Manual can openers are sturdy, reliable, and last for decades. Test yours right now on a can of tomatoes to make sure it actually works, then keep it with your canned goods where you can find it in the dark. In a crisis, a manual can opener is the difference between a warm meal and an empty stomach. Don't skip this one. Now, when the power goes out, your stove, microwave, and air fryer become expensive decorations. FEMA stresses the absolute necessity of having a backup way to heat food and boil water. This isn't optional, it's survival. Safe options include single-burner butane or propane stoves, sterno gel fuel cans, or portable chafing fuel, which you can find at dollar stores. These are affordable, portable, and effective. But here's the critical safety warning that saves lives every winter. Never, ever use outdoor grills, camp stoves, or generators indoors. Carbon monoxide is silent, invisible, and deadly. It'll kill you in your sleep before you even know something is wrong. Use alternative cooking sources in well-ventilated outdoor areas only. A covered porch, a garage with the door open, or outside if conditions allow. A hot meal in a cold house is more than comfort. It's morale, it's energy. It's the difference between surviving and thriving during a crisis. Next, let's talk about staying warm when the heat goes out. Extended power outages mean no heat, and FEMA warns that you can't just crank the thermostat and hope for the best. You need layers, and you need them before you start feeling cold. Your must-have warmth items include thermal blankets, also called space blankets. Grab wool socks, knit hats, insulated gloves, flannel blankets, quilts, thermal underwear, sweaters, and fleece pants. Disposable hand warmers are cheap and effective. If you have power early in the outage, heat up microwavable heat packs while you still can. Here's an old school trick. Thrift stores are amazing for cheap wool blankets and warm clothes. You can outfit your entire family for $20. And if things get really desperate, stuff old newspapers into jackets or shoes for emergency insulation. Close off unused rooms, hang blankets over doorways to trap heat, and block drafts with rolled up towels at the base of doors and windows. Warmth isn't just comfort, it's safety. Hypothermia doesn't care about your good intentions. Most of these supplies are probably already in your closet or attic. Pull them out, organize them, and keep them accessible. Now, let's talk about information. When your phone dies and cell towers go down, how do you know what's happening? How do you get emergency alerts, weather updates, or evacuation orders? This is where a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio becomes your lifeline to the outside world. Look for radios with NOAA weather radio channels built in. These broadcast emergency information 24/7, even when everything else is down. The best emergency radios also have a built-in flashlight, a USB port for charging your devices, and a solar panel for unlimited power. They should have a rechargeable battery, plus the option to use regular batteries as backup. Here's why this matters. Phones lose signal and battery fast in disasters. Cell towers get overwhelmed or lose power, but radios use minimal power and work in remote or damaged areas where cell service is non-existent. Keep your emergency radio in your kit where everyone in your household knows where to find it. A dedicated emergency radio keeps you informed when everything else goes silent. Information is power, and power is survival. Speaking of power, let's talk about light. Candles might seem cozy, but they're dangerous. House fires spike during power outages because people get careless with open flames. FEMA says flashlights and extra batteries are non-negotiable. You need at least 2 reliable LED flashlights plus backup lighting for kids' rooms and hallways. LED flashlights are brighter, last longer, and use less battery power than old incandescent bulbs. Store batteries in their original packaging and check expiration dates every 6 months. Batteries do expire, and dead batteries in an emergency are worthless. Consider investing in rechargeable batteries and a solar or hand-crank charger. You'll save money in the long run, and you'll never run out of power. Headlamps are fantastic for hands-free tasks in the kitchen or during repairs. And here's a tip for parents. Glow sticks can ease anxiety for kids during long outages. They're cheap, safe, and last for hours. Darkness is dangerous. You can trip, fall, cut yourself, or make critical mistakes you'd never make in daylight. Flashlights keep you safe, sane, and in control. When roads are buried under ice and snow, you can't run to the pharmacy or urgent care. That's why FEMA insists on having a basic first aid kit and at least a 7-day supply of prescription medications. Your first aid kit should include gauze, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers like ibuprofen or acetaminophen, and allergy medications. If anyone in your family has severe allergies, asthma, or diabetes, make sure you have EpiPens, inhalers, or glucose tablets. Add tweezers, scissors, a digital thermometer, electrolyte packets for dehydration, antacids, and hydrocortisone cream for rashes or bites. Here's the medication strategy. Talk to your doctor about getting an emergency buffer supply of prescription meds. Explain you're building an emergency kit and ask if they can prescribe an extra week or 2. Most doctors will understand and help you out. Store medications in a cool, dry place, not the bathroom, where humidity breaks them down faster. Keep a printed list of all medications, dosages, and doctor contact information. If you need to evacuate or seek emergency help, that list could save your life. Your medicine cabinet might be your only clinic during a winter emergency. Don't wait until you're desperate to realize you're not prepared. Now let's talk about something most people never think about: cash. When the power goes out, credit and debit cards stop working. ATMs go dark. Suddenly, the digital money in your bank account might as well not exist. FEMA recommends keeping $100 to $200 in small bills, ones, fives, and tens, in a waterproof or fireproof container. Why small bills? Because no one wants to break a $50 bill in a crisis. Small bills move faster and solve problems quicker. You can buy exactly what you need without overpaying or getting ripped off. Spread your cash around. Some in your emergency kit, some in your car's glove box, and some in a coat you regularly wear. Cash is instant, anonymous, and universal. It's your backup currency when everything else fails. It buys bottled water from a neighbor, gas from a station with a generator, or supplies from a local store still open. Don't underestimate the power of physical money when everything else fails. Now we come to the most critical item on FEMA's list, and it's not even a physical object. It's a family communication plan. When storms hit and cell service fails, you need a clear, written plan to reconnect with your loved ones. Here's how to make a plan that actually works. First, choose an out-of-state contact to act as your information hub. Long-distance phone lines often stay open longer than local ones during disasters. Everyone in your family should have this person's number memorized and written down. Second, decide on 2 meeting spots, one near your home, like a neighbor's house or a park, and another outside your neighborhood in case you can't get home. Write down full addresses. Don't rely on your phone's GPS. Print copies of your plan, tape one to the fridge, and give everyone in your household their own copy. Third, practice the plan with kids and include elderly relatives or neighbors who might need help. Walk through different scenarios. What if we're separated during school? What if the roads are blocked? What if phones don't work? The more you practice, the calmer everyone will be when it's real. A written communication plan is the glue that holds your emergency preparedness together. It's the difference between chaos and calm, between losing track of loved ones and knowing everyone is safe. But preparedness isn't just about supplies and plans, it's about mindset. None of us want to imagine power outages, frozen pipes, or being snowed in for days. But FEMA's warnings aren't about fear, they're about giving you the best chance to handle whatever comes next. Preparedness is freedom. It's the freedom to stay calm, care for your people, and ride out the storm without panic. Being prepared isn't selfish, it's community-minded. When you have extra batteries, a working can opener, or a thermos of hot broth, you can help neighbors and friends. In times of crisis, sharing resources and information is as important as having supplies in the first place. You become a resource for your community, not a burden. Start small if you need to. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Begin with a manual can opener, a few extra cans of beans, and fresh batteries for your flashlight. Every step forward makes you safer, smarter, and more in control. Build from there. Add water storage next week. Pick up a radio the week after. Before you know it, you'll have everything you need. And pay attention to what's happening in your area. As winter approaches, keep an eye out for shortages or price hikes on basics like canned goods, batteries, and propane. If you notice empty shelves or rising prices, share that information with others. Real-time updates can help your community stay ahead of the curve and prepare while supplies are still available. So let's recap the 10 essentials. 1 gallon of water per person per day. A 3-day supply of non-perishable food. A manual can opener. An alternative cooking source. Warmth supplies without electricity, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio, flashlights and extra batteries, a first aid kit and prescription medications, cash and small bills, and a family communication plan. Winter 2025 may be unpredictable, intense, and disruptive, but with these 10 essential items and a clear plan, you'll be ready to face whatever comes your way. You don't need fancy gear or months of training, just practical steps, a calm mindset, and a willingness to prepare. When the wind howls and the lights flicker, you'll be sipping hot cocoa from your shelf-stable stash, warming your hands with a hand warmer, and checking the weather on a radio that doesn't need Wi-Fi. You'll know your family has a plan, your medications are covered, and you can open that can of soup without drama.
preparedness is peace of mind. It's the quiet insurance policy that keeps you safe, fed, and calm no matter what winter throws your way. Preparedness isn't about expecting the worst, it's about giving yourself the best chance to handle whatever comes next. Drop a comment telling us which item you're getting first, and subscribe to Crisis Horizon for more survival strategies that could save your life. Stay warm, stay ready, and remember, you've got this.